Welcome to Jank Play TCG. My name's Landon, and here we play Jank. And today we are going to be reviewing the two new Deluxe Battle EX decks that came out. One is focused on Koraidon, the other one's focused on Miraidon. Kind of an ancient versus future kind of dealio we have going on here. At the end of this, I will be showing you a match that I played against someone that was lovely enough on the Discord to build the deck and play against me. But before that, let's jump into each deck and see what's going on here. So first, we've got Koraidon. Koraidon is a great Pokemon. So for 2 energy, Retribution Strike, it does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Fantastic. Plus 20 damage, you know? So, if Koraidon has, let's say, 220 damage on them, they can do 240 back. And that's going to KO a lot of things, right? So this Koraidon is pretty fun to play with. We've also got this Kaiser Tackle attack for 3 energy, 1 fire, 2 fighting, 280 damage. This Pokemon also does 60 damage to itself. So it's a way to build up damage on yourself and a way to get big KOs. Doing 280 damage is ridiculous. Doesn't Giratina V-Star do that? And that sees a lot of play, so why not Koraidon, right? Anyways, that is the Koraidon EX. That is the main staple of this deluxe deck. But there is another EX in the deck. And that's Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks is another awesome Pokemon in my opinion. It's got this amazing ability, Magnetic Absorption. Once during your turn, if your opponent has 4 or fewer prize cards remaining, you may attach a basic fighting energy card from your discard to this Pokemon. So as long as your opponent has 4 or less, as long as it's not 0, I guess, more than 0, less than 5, you know, Sandy Shocks can just attach an energy to it from the discard pile, which means it can just sit on the bench and slowly build up to this Earthen Spike attack that does 200 damage for 3 energy. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack, so you do have that to deal with, but that's not too big of a deal, right? So those are the 2 EXs in the Koraidon EX battle deck. There is another Koraidon, though. We're talking the Primordial Beatdown Koraidon. 140 HP, not an EX, so a single prize. For 2 energy, does 30 for each of your ancient Pokemon in play, including itself. So, you can have at most 6 Pokemon in play. Let's say they're all ancient, because all Pokemon in this deck are ancient. And you have, your bench is full. You've got as many Pokemon out as you can. That is 6. Times 30, that is 180 damage from this small single prize Pokemon. I think that's pretty good, especially in this matchup. I think it's really good. Koraidon's just a really solid, consistent attacker, I would say. The toughest part is getting Pokemon out, right? These battle decks are never built optimally, like 100% optimally, or else they'd be too good. But, yeah. This Koraidon, really strong. We've also got the single prize Sandy Shocks in here. And this is one Pokemon that I think gets overlooked way too much. Because for a single fighting energy, it can do 90 damage. But it does 20 damage. And if you have 3 or more energy in play, including the one attached to Sandy Shocks, it does 70 more, right? Oh, man. And this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness. Great. It is affected by resistance, but not weakness. That's really bad. But I still love the attack. I love the fact that it can just attack for 1 energy while you're building up stuff on the bench, and this Sandy Shocks can do 90 damage. I think that is really important to keep in mind. And last and certainly least, when we were talking about Pokemon, we got Great Tusk here. And I know what you might be thinking. Great Tusk is an amazing Pokemon. Don't you make fun of it. I agree, except this one's not that great. For 2 energy, 30 damage. Koraidon's 2 energy, 30 for each ancient Pokemon play. Great Tusk, 30. Period. No way to change that. But you do have this 3 energy attack, Wrathful Charge, and it's 80 plus damage. If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 80 more damage. So we were talking about Koraidon can damage itself, then you can move it to the bench, have this powered up Great Tusk just be attacking, right? It sounds wonderful. It's just tough because it's those 3 energy, right? But yeah, it's bringing up the rear, but that's still a lot of damage that it can pump out, right? We gotta keep that in mind. That's 160 damage, so yeah. Those are the Pokemon in the Koraidon EX Battle Deck. Let's go ahead and check out the energy. 6 Fire, 8 Fighting. Right? Because our Pokemon, most of them need fighting, but the Koraidons also have some fire stuff, right? Now, if I were building it, I would probably put 1 more fire onto, like, take away 1 fire, add 1 more fighting, right? Your main focus is fighting. All your Pokemon take fighting. Just 2 of them take a couple fire energy sometimes, 1 fire energy sometimes. So, yeah, but that's me nitpicking, right? This deck is still going to function how we expect this deck to function. So let's jump into trainers. And I think the first one we have to point out is Professor Saw's Vitality. If you don't know what this card does, this card builds ancient decks. If you got an ancient deck, Professor Saw is in that deck. No questions asked. Ancient Pokemon love Professor Sada. What you do is, it's a supporter, and you choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to each of them. If you attached any energy this way, draw 3 cards. Not only is it energy acceleration, but it is also draw 3. Now, I struggle because it seems like anytime Ancient gets a good card, Future gets a better card, except when it comes to their supporters. Their Ancient supporters are top tier, while Future supporters are kind of meh, in my opinion. Speaking of, we also have Explorer's Guidance. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 of them into your hand, discard the others. Now, this one doesn't work out quite as well in this deck, except like discarding Fighting Energy for the Sandy Shocks EX, I guess. But this works in so many other Ancient decks, mostly the Roaring Moon Ancient Box decks that we see. You get to see 6 cards, you take 2, and you discard the rest. Those discards just make them good discards, right? We've also got Earthen Vessel as an item card, which this sees play in so many decks. Just about any deck plays this because it's just that good. You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand. So it's a pay 1. You pay 1 from hand, any card from hand, and you get to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them in your hand. They do just go into your hand. It's not like they go into the discard ready to be sodded or anything. But the discard one is generally an energy into the discard so you can sod it back later. Like, that's how good Ancient stuff is. Like the trainers, they just work so well together. So Earthen Vessel gets you energies. We've got 3 switch because a lot of our guys are high retreat costs. We've got 2 Ultra Ball, which is a little low, except for the fact that we are nothing but basics, right? So what we really need is 4 Nest Ball, which they also give us. We've got 3 Youngster, not a great trainer. I like using it, but a lot of people don't. They would prefer this if it was like Iono, right? Iono is a great card. Easy swap here, right? We already talked about Professor Saz. We get 1 Super Rod. It really should be 2, but 1 just to get you started, I guess. We've got 2 copies of Rhyme, trash card, but it can be fun. You draw 3 cards and switch out your opponent's active Pokemon, meaning they get to pick their new active. So, there's certain situations where maybe your opponent's just trying to stall you out, and they've got nothing Pokemon in the active, but they got their main attacker benched right now, so you don't hit into it. Rhyme might be able to force that into the active, depending on what their bench situation is. So, yeah, Rhyme can be fun, but it's not necessarily great. 3 copies of Professor's Research. this should be 4 ofs. Professor's Research, best draw card in the game, blah, 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 blah. Fantastic card. We've got 4 copies of Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, and what that does is it gives your Ancient Pokemon 60 more HP. That's just more HP that Koraidon EX can have to Retribution Strike with, right? So we've got that, but also you recover from all special conditions and can't be affected by any special conditions. Like I said, Ancient trainers are way better than Future. We also have 1 copy of Cook. I don't know why. To try to keep Koraidon going longer, I guess, but it doesn't really work out well. Yeah. And we got 1 copy of Bossasaurus. Fantastic card as a 1-of, kind of meh. So let's go ahead and jump to the Miraidon EX Battle Deck. And we'll focus on Miraidon first. Miraidon EX. This card actually surprised me while we were playing. Because of the Repulsion Bolt. It's 2 energy, 1 Psychic, 1 Lightning, meaning it's really difficult to get that energy in play, right? Where with the Ancient, it was just like a bunch of fighting and a couple fire. This one really is drawing on you're playing 2 different types, and it causes a little bit of an energy issue, but it's fine. Repulsion Bolt's good. It does 60 damage, which doesn't sound great, but if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, this attack does 100 more damage. So that's 160 damage, and that's a lot better. It's not perfect, it's not game-breaking, but it's a lot better. And then we have Cyber Drive. This one is 3 energy, same 1 Psychic, 1 Lightning, but then 1 colorless, so it could be any type. It does 220 damage. Dang, that's a lot of damage. Sadly, that misses the KO on Koraidon EX by 10, which sets up a Retribution Strike from your Koraidon friend really well. Ouch. Yeah, I found that funny when I was playing around with it. But it's still a really strong attack. It can KO the Shandy Shocks EX and all the single prizers and do a lot of damage to the Koraidon EX. Honestly, I found it was more beneficial to spread out just a little bit of damage on that Koraidon and then come in with the Cyber Drive later to KO it if necessary. We also have the single prize Miraidon. And I'm going to go over this before the other EX we have, because peak acceleration. When I say future Pokemon are just better than Ancient, this is the perfect example. Peak acceleration, full single energy, any type of energy. Any future deck can use this. 40 damage. Search your deck up to 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. Energy acceleration from a Pokemon that's doing damage for a single colorless energy. Come on! That is just way too good. It is the backbone of the deck. You got 4 of them. You're trying to start with this one in the active, and you're just trying to set up everything on the bench. Let this Miraidon get KO'd so you can promote something that'll just take KO after KO after KO, just repetitively, right? This is amazing. It's the 2 lightning, 1 psychic attack, 160 is fine. It's in fact good, right? I'll say that. It's good. I just wouldn't power up to use it fairly often, honestly. The other EX in the deck, though, is Iron Valiant EX. I'm really surprised they gave us this one, right? It is only a 1-of, and really to maximize Iron Valiant EX, the idea is to bounce between them. I have a deck that shows off Iron Valiant very well on this channel. But Takiana, I can't say that word. I can say it normally. Tachyon Bits? I don't know. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's just getting damage out there, right? Oh, wait! Putting damage counters on Pokemon. Isn't there... Miraidon EX uses Repulsion Bolt on that now damaged Pokemon, so Iron Valiant gets the damage out there for free. Just switch into the active with Iron Valiant, then you just retreat, and I'll tell you how retreating is super easy in the trainers. Then you just retreat, and then Miraidon can do 160, plus the 20, that's 180. That is a lot of damage. I'm sorry, but that is a lot of damage for 2 energy and a couple switches, right? We also have a single prize Iron Valiant, which I do think is a brilliant addition. Because of this Gemini laser attack, it does 20 damage, but you also do 20 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So you're getting damage out on the field in multiple ways, and I just love it. I think it's super good. I think this Iron Valiant gets overlooked too much, honestly. But currently, Mana Fiend's in the format, so the bench damage really doesn't matter too much anyways. We've also got Iron Jugulus here. With the automated combat, when it is attacked and damaged, you put 3 damage counters on the opponent's active. Even if it's not knocked out, that's 3 damage counters, right? And that's another way to get damage counters out there for Miraidon to come in and sweep, right? Just another way to get damage out there. It's a colorless, 3 energy, 110, not great, but decent if you're in a jam. Iron Hands. Thankfully, not the EX. I hate Iron Hands EX. If you don't know why, ask me in the comments. I will leave you a lengthy reply. Iron Hands has a 2 energy attack, 30 damage, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. Cool. 3 damage, or 3 energy, sorry. 80 plus if you're attacking an EX or V Pokemon, it does 80 more. That's 160. It's fine. 160 into EXs isn't anything to really worry about for 3 energy too. But yeah, it's a fine inclusion. I would have rathered another Iron Jugulus, like have the Iron Jugulus be 3 of, Iron Hands at 2 of, to just make it feel a little bit better and more situated towards this Miraidon, right? Let's jump into energy. And we've got 6 Psychic, 8 Lightning. Honestly, I think they could have gone straight 50-50. 7 of each I think would have been really good, right? But I will admit, this Miraidon takes 2 Lightning and a Psychic. That's really it. That's the argument. Another argument, I should say. Maybe do 8 Psychic, 6 Lightning instead, because you've got 2 Pokemon that require 2 Psychic on them to attack, and they're decent attackers. This one requires 2 Lightning, and this one requires 2 Lightning. Both of which are fine. I mean, 160 is more than this Iron Valiant's pumping out for that amount of energy, but not more than this Iron Valiant, right? Trainers. Let's get into trainers, right? And I told you how terrible future trainers are, right? So we have Professor Turo's Scenario. Put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand. Discard all cards attached to that Pokemon. We have a better card for this. It's just straight up better, even in future decks. Ready? Penny. Put one of your basic Pokemon and all attached cards into your hand. Yeah. Yeah. Future gets outplayed immediately. Because all future Pokemon are basic, Professor Turo's Scenario, sure, it works on Pokemon that aren't basic and aren't future, which is really its goal, right? But in a future deck, it's kind of pointless. Sorry. Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. Search your deck for up to 2 cards, shuffle your deck, then put those on top in any order. Awesome. But kind of a drawback here. In most decks playing Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, they have a way to draw after playing a supporter to get those cards immediately. I don't remember any of these Pokemon saying draw cards. Ever. So, Cypher Maniacs, yeah, you get to decide what your top deck is next turn. And the turn after that. Fine. Honestly, just put Professor's Research on top, and then whatever card you want, and then you can just Professor's Research next turn, draw the exact card you want, and 6 more cards, right? That's usually how you're going to play this. Techno Radar. You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand, just like Earthen Vessel, but instead you get to search your deck up to 2 future Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That's cool. That's cool. Nest Ball gets a basic Pokemon. Remember, all future Pokemon are basic. And you don't have to discard another card in your hand. Yes, the World Championship deck used Techno Radar. I understand the benefit of getting 2 Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know what more there is to say about that. Like, it's a decent one. Okay, Future Booster Energy Capsule. This is the last future trainer card to go over here, right? The future Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost, and the attacks it uses do 20 more damage to your opponent's active. This is the best future trainer card. This is. 0 retreat and 20 more damage is the best future trainer card, period. Sure, there's ace specs and all that stuff, but I don't care. This thing is good. Remember when I mentioned Miraidon was 10 damage short on KOing a Koraidon EX? Yeah, just use the Future Booster Energy Capsule. Remember how I mentioned how Iron Valiant wants to do, like, it gets to do 20 damage to a Pokemon when it moves into the active spot? But you may not want to attack with it, so you gotta retreat it. Future Booster Energy Capsule, free retreat. Ha! And then in addition to that, we are playing, 4 Switch cards. So that is definitely an idea that they want you to run with. Let's jump into some other ones. We already mentioned Nest Ball, but we got to mention Energy Retrieval. Because they don't have a way to accelerate from the discard like Professor Sada gives Ancients, Energy Retrieval is a great way to recover some energy. We got 4 copies of Youngster. Okay. 2 copies of Boss's Orders. Ooh, that's much better than the Koraidon. 2 copy of Rika. Rika's an okay card. Look at the top 4 cards, put 2 of them in your hand, shuffle the other 2 back into, or you shuffle them and put them at the bottom of the deck. It's fine. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. 1 Super Rod. Again, it should be 2. Most decks will play 2. I don't know why they didn't include a second one. 4 copies of Professor's Research. Hey, that's 1 more copy than Koraidon, right? We got 1 more copy of Professor's Research and Youngster in the Miraidon than in the Koraidon. Oh, and 1 more copy of Boss's Orders in the Miraidon than the Koraidon. Yeah, that's the deck. And now I'm gonna edit in a match that I already played into the end of this video, where I'm playing the Miraidon EX Battle deck, and Slip from the... Was it Slip? Or was it Clinton? I don't know, they're both great people in the Discord. Everyone in the Discord's great. Join the Discord. It was Slip. It was Slip. I was right. It was Slip. Thank you, Slip, for... helping me out with this. I might edit all this out. I don't know. Anyways, let's jump into that game. Alright. Let's get into this match. We're both kind of playing these decks blind, so we'll see how it goes. I am playing this before I do the review of the decks. I edit that in before for you. So, yeah. Blind playthrough here. I've got the Miraidon deck. Slip from the Discord offered to play Koraidon, and so we are playing those decks. Do I want to go first? I'm gonna say yes, because I want the energy, right? Like, of course I want the energy, but I do have that baby Miraidon, which can accelerate energy very well, and I don't start with it, clearly. So, let's see, Iron Jugulus I'll start with. There we go. Alright. Let's see. My turn. What? Iron Hands. Is Iron Hands worth playing? I can Techno Radar, discard Iron Hands, and go get the good Miraidon. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Get rid of that. Grab the good Miraidon and try to grab the EX. Yeah, I'm going to grab that too. Try to showcase it out a little bit, you know? But yeah, we're going to play those down. Play that down. And end turn there. Now, my next turn, I'm planning on Future Boost Energy Capsule to the active, the Psychic Energy to the Benched Miraidon EX, Retreat to the Baby Miraidon, and then I'll just Professor's Research, get a brand new hand, and wow, very similar turns, except they've got way more Sandy Shocks than I do. What is up with this opening hand? Holy cow! It was like all Pokemon and an earthen vessel. That is like amazing. My resistance means I don't take any damage from that Sandy Shocks. Thank goodness. So I will that, and then I will this. Here we go. We got Nest Ball. We can grab another Pokemon. This one might not be bad to have. You know, just sitting there waiting, right? I don't think I need a second Iron Jugulus out. So I'm just going to Peak Acceleration. You see, and this is kind of the best part about Miraidon, is being able to do this Peak Acceleration, right? It's just such a good attack. And if you threw like a Future Booster Energy Capsule on there, you're doing 60. And 60 is a really good number. I'd be 2 hitting Sandy Shocks instead of 1 hitting it, or 3 hitting it, right? It's 1 less hit. But, yeah. Okay, so next turn, they'll get a 3rd energy out, and they'll be doing 90. That will 1-hit KO my Miraidon, right? I can either let them have it. I could boss around, maybe. Maybe I boss up this Sandy Shocks, get stuck in the active. There we go. Now, the ability they can't use, right, because I don't have 4 or fewer prizes. So they're kind of stuck in the active unless they get a switch or they waste their time putting 2 energy on there, right? Alright. There we go. That's good. That's good. They got 2 EXs out. I got 2 EXs out. Professor Sada's Vitality. Do they have anything in the discard? Just that 1 fire energy. Okay. Are they wanting to do Shred? Primordial Beatdown can get them a lot more numbers-wise. I will attach this to the active, and then I'm going to Professor's Research. Whew, we are cooking here. I will attach a Lightning Energy here. Techno Radar, removing Cypher? Maybe? Then I can grab 2. 1 can be Iron Hands, but it's weak to fighting, so I don't know if I want that out. I'll grab my Iron Valiant and my other Miraidon EX. I'll play down this one. I'll play down that one. And then I'll Peak Acceleration. So right now we are just focused on getting energy out of the deck, right? We've got 1 Psychic Energy. Yikes. That means that Iron Valiant won't get powered up. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure this out. Now I have Free Retreat, and I can move anywhere, right? With Miraidon EX, I've got this Repulsion Bolt, right? It does 100 more damage if there's already damage counters on the Sandy Shocks, which there is, so I can retreat to that in 1 shot. Then I still have my Cyber Drive, which can 1-shot anything except this Koraidon, right? And that's dangerous, because that Koraidon with Retribution Strike is very powerful and can just return KO on me. So, yeah, that's not great. If I could get a Future Booster Energy Capsule, I don't know how many are in the deck. Like I said, I'm playing this kind of blind. Yeah. Oh, I hope people are liking the new camera positioning. Someone was mentioning how it was like blocking prizes and whatnot. And I just thought this might fit better because it blocks emotes, so people like the spamming emote people won't really affect the video as much. Hey, look at that. I got it. Nice. All right, I'm going to retreat to this Miraidon, and then we are going to Repulsion Bolt. Yes. I could have attached this energy. I don't know where to yet. Right. Gemini Laser's not bad. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Right, so Gemini Laser isn't bad. Zen Blade isn't bad. But we would really need to be hitting weakness. And we aren't hitting weakness on anything out currently. Because there's a bunch of dragons out. And dragons don't have a weakness. So I could do 80 or I could do the Cyber Drive. And that would just KO this Koraidon. There's the one energy that they need. Do they have Sada? That's the big question. They've got one energy in the discard. They could be setting up this Koraidon here. And I'm worried about that if they actually do that. Now I can't one-shot that. That's going to be a little rough. Alright. Return when this Pokemon moves from the bench to the active. Okay. Okay. I'll probably just attack with Cyber Drive. And if they do put up something like this, I'll retreat to Iron Valiant, which will let me put damage somewhere, probably on this other one. Ooh, Rhyme? Hit me. You're going to KO this guy. I am going to get damage on you, though. And then I can just Repulsion Bolt. Right? Yeah. Ah, love it. Love it. That ability coming in clutch. Coming in clutch. Honestly, I wish I had another one on the bench just waiting, you know? Like, that'd be really cool. Sadly, I don't. I think I'd discard my other one. I've gone through the deck very fast, right? I'm at 17, my opponent's at 23. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference, but that is 6 cards, right? So, that was a lot of lightning energy that went to the graveyard, discard. Why did I say graveyard? I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In forever. Oh, I guess I am blocking discard view. Oh well. I could play Youngster. No. I'm just gonna Repulsion Bolt, I think. Just do that. I don't know if this deck plays 2 boss, and I already used 1. So, yeah. I only need 3 more prizes. That's going to be like this Sandy Shocks here, which seems like the only viable attacker they have, and an EX, right? So, those are kind of my options. Here comes the EX. All right. Do they have Sada? If they have Sada, they could do Retribution Strike, but that's only going to do 20, right? They don't have any damage on them. Because Sada can only accelerate 1 there. If they have like an energy switch, which I don't know if the deck has, we're both playing blind, then they could get Kaiser Tackle up and going this turn, and that would really hurt. Let's see, that would do 60 to themselves, leaving them at 230, and still just really hard to get that working. So, yeah, I do 220 if I get Future Booster Energy Capsule. I've got, what, 2 on the field, 1 in the discard? Yeah, so if we play 4 of in this deck, which I don't know if we do. Let's see. I could retreat to the Iron Valiant now. No. And then I would switch back. But I would get damage somewhere. I kind of want to do that. So I'm going to retreat to Iron Valiant. Tachyon Bits is going to trigger. I'll put 20 damage there. Get that thing ready. I'll switch back to the Miraidon. A Lightning Energy there. And Repulsion Bolt. Kaplow! Alright, I'm thinking this Miraidon deck might be a little bit better than Koraidon. Sadly, in the TCG, it does seem like Miraidon is the favored compared to Koraidon. I don't know why that is. I really like Koraidon. I just hate that Koraidon's cards are never as good as Miraidon's. Like, the Miraidon on the bench here is the best one with Primordial Beatdown. And even in Ancient Box decks, they prefer not to play this Koraidon. They prefer to play Walking Wake, you know? I can't really blame them. Walking Wake is good. So... They pass, huh? Oh, I do have a boss's orders. Let's see. I would do how much damage? 60 plus 100. No, that's 180. That would put it to 200. Or I could just get damage on this thing. But it wouldn't be that much damage. That's my only concern, really. Well, I guess I could do 220. Let's do it. 240 because of the future booster energy capsule. 240 right there. They've got 2 energy. They can return knockout this Koraidon, but more likely they're going to retreat to the benched Koraidon. And this Koraidon can do 280 and just knock out this Miraidon. So, but it will do 60 damage to itself. That'll be 80 damage there. And then Iron Valiant, when I move it into the active, I'll have to put 2 damage counters onto... Are they not retreating? Are they not retreating? Oh, come on. You gotta retreat, right? You're not retreating. Okay, so I win. I could win with this Miraidon right here. Just peak acceleration. There we go. This Miraidon, peak acceleration does 60, knocking out this Koraidon, and I'll get to accelerate some energy. Let me play down Super Rod to accelerate the energy. I definitely want Psychic back in. And then we will peak acceleration, knocking out this Koraidon. 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. 1, a 2. And that's it. That's game. Thank you, Slip, for offering to play against me. And thank you for choosing the Koraidon deck. Every time I ask someone to help me with this match where I play one deck against the other, I let them choose which deck they want to play. And so they picked the Ancient box, or the Ancient deck, which I'm not sure how good that is, but the Miraidon deck seemed to flow, even though I know Miraidon isn't Miraidon EX. That Miraidon EX isn't really the best attacker Future has. Koraidon is definitely not the best attacker Ancient has either. So, yeah, I think these decks are fun, and if you're looking for the tools of either a Future box or a Ancient box, I think these got enough in there. Like, the Professor Sadas are worth it, the Baby Miraidons are worth it. Like, there's really good stuff in here. So, if you are just getting into the Pokemon TCG, highly recommend these decks. Maybe you and a friend can go on both of them and play against each other like we just did. It would be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, until next time, keep playing Jank.